Hello students, welcome back to another session of Political Science with me, Meza. Today I'll be continuing with the previous the chapter that we have started in the previous classes, the party system. In the previous classes, we have learned the meaning and features of political party, the role and functions of political party, the effects of party system, the various categories of party system, the evolution of party system in India, various phases of party system in India. Those were the main points that we have learned in the previous classes. For today, we will be learning, we will try to learn and understand the features of party system in India, the role of opposition in democracy, and the role of opposition in India. So, as we have already been discussing, we have the multi-party system in India, and multi-party system is one of the main political party feature of in India. In the multi-party system, as we are all aware, we have quite a lot of national parties as well as regional and state parties also. In the national party, at present in the center, we have more than 35 political parties representing the parliament. When I say 35, we're not talking only about the national political parties, but we are talking about both the national as well as state and regional political parties. Some of the significant political parties which are taking part as of now in the central government are the BJP, the Congress, the Communist Party of India Marxist, the Communist Party of India, then the National Congress Party. Of course, there are other national parties which are taking part in the center, but these are some of the important, significant players as of now. Then some regional political parties which deserve some special mentions are the AIADMK, that is All India Anna Dravida Munitra Kazhagam, the All India Tribunal Congress, AITC, Biju Janata Dal, BJD, then Akali Dal, Shiv Sena, then of course, in the case of Nagaland, we have the NDTP representative, both one in Lok Sabha and the other one in Rajya Sabha. So these are the political parties which are taking part in the functioning of the parliament as of now. This is one of the feature multi-party system. Then the next point is personality cult. Personality cult, I've already mentioned in the previous class that after 1990 general election in India, the Congress party was identified with Mrs. Indira Gandhi. So the political party, the Congress party came to be known as Congress I. When we say Congress I, it is Congress Indira. That is what we are talking about. Then the phase of personality cult started in Indian politics. Not only in the Congress political party, but even the BJP. So in the Congress political party, what has been happening is that, first of all, after 1990, there was Mrs. Indira Gandhi, who was the leader of the Congress. Then after that, Rajiv Gandhi came. Rajiv Gandhi is the daughter of Indira Gandhi. Rajiv Gandhi is the son of Mrs. Indira Gandhi. Then after that, the wife of Rajiv Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, came as the leader of the Congress party. And now what we are seeing is that Rajiv Gandhi's son, Rahul Gandhi, is one of the main leaders of the Congress party. So this is what we are talking about, personality cult in a political party. As I've mentioned, not only in Congress, but what we see now in the BJP government is also BJP and the allied government, which is functioning now, which is in power now. The identity of the BJP government is centered around Mr. Narendra Modi. So this is also another form of personality cult. So this is a feature which have started since 1990 and which is still continuing. Then we have the next feature, that is no clear-cut ideologies. See, we have a lot of political parties, multi-party system, political parties in India. And we see that every political party has to have their own ideology, own policy, own programs. But here in India, what we see is that almost all the political parties have similar ideologies, similar policies, similar programs. Like, say, for example, let's take the example of, say, the BJP. Maybe we're just taking examples. One of their programs, maybe, or policies, may be to work for the welfare of the weaker section of the population. So that particular same program is also there in the Congress. It's there in the Communist Party of India. It's there in the state and regional parties. So that is one of the main programs that all the parties have. They have similar programs. The implementation part may be a little different. The BJP may implement it in a different way. The Congress may implement it in a different way. But when we look at their programs or their policies, the agendas that they have similar ones. So members of any political party, they do not take any hitch in changing their political parties also. So they keep on, sometimes some persons, just to achieve their political aims and objectives, they change their party from one party to another party. So for that reason, that pattern has been existing in the Indian political system, and this is also another feature of Indian party system. Then communalism. Communalism was and is and still continuing a big problem in the case of India. Before independence, there was communal problem. After independence, there was communal problem. We thought it'll come to an end after India got independence, but it is still continuing. Politically, we see that there are so many communal-based political parties. And then these political parties, maybe not all the communal-based political parties are trying to mobilize their own community. Maybe not, or maybe it is like that. So in that way, communalism, the negative impact of communalism are being imbued in the people. As a result, when election comes, in so many parts of India, there are communal riots also. But this is not the case only with India. When we look at other countries around the world, like Germany, Sweden, Denmark, Italy, they also have political parties based on community. They also have the pattern of communalism, but here the kind of communalism they have and the kind of communalism that India have is a little different, because we have a variety of communities, we have a variety of social systems in our structure. So it is a little different, but this is one of the features of Indian political party system as of now. Then the caste system that shaped the facet of political life. Here, when we say the caste system, because see, India have the problem of the caste system also. We have different category of people. People are divided into different categories. We have the lower caste, we have the higher class, there are middle class people, different categories of people are there. So when we look at the political party system in India, there are divisions of communities or divisions of people based on their caste. And say let's take just a simple example. Say for example, a backward caste. A candidate from a backward caste is contesting for election. So without looking at the profile of the person, of the candidate, just because that particular person is from their caste, people tend to vote for that person. So that is also another feature that India have in the Indian political party system. Then the next feature is the rise of regional parties. After 1977 general election, that was after the end of the emergency, and the Janata government was formed in 1977, which failed in 1979, and after the 1980 general election, there was a steady rise of regional parties. Regional parties, here we are talking about the parties like Akali Dal, DMK, AIA-DMK, then the Shiv Sena. All these regional parties started rising in importance. Why do we say rising in importance? Because the period of coalition have started. The period of coalition government have started. And the coalition governments are formed with the help of these regional and state parties. So the rising importance of regional and state parties can be seen from the 1980s up to now. Right now, the BJP government is a little different. I think I've mentioned this in the earlier class also, but it's a little different because they have got more than 280 seats, but they're still having a coalition government. Why? Because they have made alliance before the election. Therefore, they are still having the coalition government as of now. The next feature of the party system in India is politics of defection and anti-defection act. Defection. Here, defection, some cartoonists say that, defection, the term defection, some cartoonists have given a slogan known as Aya Ram, Gaya Ram. Okay, so that is a little funny, the funnier side. But then defection, when we say defection is something where a person contests the election using the party ticket, and after winning the election, threatens his or her political party to quit the party and shift his favor to some other political parties. That is called defection. So this was very prevalent in the during the 1980s. So beginning of 1980s. So what the Constitution did was that they passed an amendment known as the Anti-Defection Act of 1985. So when they passed this act is to do with if a member means if a person who has already won the election and using the party ticket, that person cannot and will not change his or her party. And if he or she does that, that person will be suspended. That is the thing that they passed in 1985, known as the Anti-Defection Act. But what happened was that there are some certain groups of MPs or certain groups of legislative members, they gang up together, and then they fight for some certain of selfish rights, their own selfish rights. And then what they do is that they threaten the chief minister in the state, in the case of the state, and the prime minister in the case of the center, to shift their favors. So that was one big problem that they have faced regarding the Anti-Defection Act of 1985. So in order to change this pattern, another amendment was made in the Constitution in 2003, which makes it impossible for any defector to hold any public office as that of a minister until he or she seeks re-election or until the next fresh elections were held. So after 2003, what they did was that they changed. Before they were just suspended, but after 2003, they were not allowed to hold any public office. Means they may be a minister, and they want to defect, that person wants to defect his or her political party. But if he or she defects and then goes to another political party, that political party is not supposed to give that particular person the status of a minister or whatever status the person wants, until and unless that particular person contests election again, re-election, or in the general election, he or she contests election and wins the election, until and unless that person contests the election and wins the election. It can be re-election or it can be in the general election. So that was the system that was introduced after 2003. So the defection fashion of Ayaram, Gayaram, somehow it is stopped a little bit. There are still people who are doing it, but then it was not so common as before, as of now. Okay, so that is one feature that Indian political party system has had. And the last feature that we see in the party system in India is that there are members of parliaments who have criminal records, who have criminal cases registered against them. So this is something very unique. When we look at other countries, we don't see this kind of persons being represented in the parliament or being representative of the people in their country. But in India, this is one of the unique features that we have. So one of the former Chief Election Commissioner, Navin B. Chawla, what he said was that money power and muzzle power have become important determinants in winning election. That is the reason why we see that people with criminal records or people who are registered, who have criminal cases registered against them, are representative of our people. That is very sad. So what the Supreme Court said was that, what the Supreme Court has highlighted and said was that it has to be the political parties who have to check all this. Because it is the political parties who issues the party ticket to those persons. So therefore, what the Supreme Court has advised the political parties to do is that the political parties should look at the records, the activities of the person who is contesting for election, and if a person has any criminal records registered against them, or may be involved in some criminal activities, those persons should be debarred from issuing party tickets so that they may not become representative of our people. So that was the only option they had, so they did that, and this is one of the unique features that Indian party system have. So those are the features that we have in India, the party system. Moving on to the next point, we have the role of opposition in democracy. If you like, you can refer to page number 41 of your textbook. See, in a democracy, in a parliamentary democracy, the active functioning of the opposition is an essential ingredient for a successful democracy. So therefore, the role of opposition plays a very important part in any parliamentary democracy. So what are the main roles of opposition in a democracy? The first one is it acts as a restraining force and an alert watchdog. An alert watchdog. Here what we mean to say is that the oppositions are not dogs, okay? They're not dogs, they're human beings only. But they're just alert, like alert watchdogs. Means we usually see that dogs are quite alert if they are kept as pet at home also. So in that way, we're just taking the example of that. So the first thing they do is that interpellation. Interpellation, it means the MPs ask questions. The MPs ask questions in question hours. They ask valuable questions on to check the ministers or government officials, whether they are doing their work properly or not, whether the programs, the policies that the government has implemented are implemented in the proper channel or not. So that is what the opposition can do to check the functioning of the ruling government. The next thing that the opposition can do is a motion for adjournment, which provides an opportunity by means of which acts of omission and commission of the government may be criticized. See, motions of adjournments are used by the opposition, are implemented by the opposition to check the omission and commission. Here we are talking about whether the government is doing the works properly or not doing the work properly. That is what we have to say here. So that motions of adjournment, and there are two kinds of motions. One is known as the no confidence, the motion which is no confidence motion. No confidence motion is passed when, we have already discussed in class 11 also, but I'm just going to highlight it again. No confidence motion is passed when the government, when the opposition, when the parliament, when the house do not have faith in the ruling government. So once a no confidence motion is passed, the house is dissolved. Now, censure motion. Censure motion is another kind of motion which is passed against, which can be moved against a particular minister or a group of ministers. See, no confidence motion is a move against the whole council of ministers, whereas censure motions are moved against a particular minister or a group of ministers, not the whole council of ministers. You should know the difference between no confidence and censure motions. So these are the motions that the opposition can use to check the government, to check the ruling government. Then what the opposition can do is that they can seek the appointment of investigation commissions. If they feel that the government is not doing their work properly, they can request the president, they can request the house, the parliament, the house, to appoint investigation committees or commissions. And then in these committees or commission, members of opposition party also are members of the committees or commissions. And that's how they try to find out whether the government is doing their work properly or not. The next point is the opposition is regarded as a government in reserve in parliament or a government in waiting. Why do we say a government in reserve or government in waiting? Government in reserve or government in waiting. Because if the ruling government is not able to provide a stable government, and if the government falls, the responsibility of running the country will come down to the opposition. So they have to be always alert on their toes, and if there is any chance, they have to step up and run the government. That's why the opposition is also called a government in reserve or government in waiting. Then the opposition also plays the role of grievances ventilation. Grievances ventilation because they are the voices of the public. They voice the problems. They voice the difficulties that the public face public faces. So they also play the role of grievance ventilation. So that is also another role of the opposition. And it's not always a negative role that the opposition plays. The opposition, of course, they have negative roles also, but then the opposition also have positive, constructive roles, in the sense that if the government is implementing some programs which are actually good for the people in general, actually harmonizing the people living within the country, they give full support to the government so that the programs are successful. So that is also another role of the opposition. And the last point here in your textbook that is mentioned regarding the role of opposition is that it does not behave political opponents to engage in activities harmful to public order or security of state. Here, what it means to say is that, just because the oppositions want to expose the government, they should not resort to activities which are harmful for the public, which will disturb the harmony of the state, of the public order. The opposition should not do that. The opposition, in order to expose the government also, they should always use the constitutional means, the step-by-step constitutional means that are written in the constitution of any democracy. So that is an essential role of the opposition. Therefore, they should not resort to any harm to the public or security of the state. They should not bring any harm to the public or risk the security of the state in any case. So how does an opposition, how can the opposition best perform? The opposition can best perform when they are well informed. Here, they have to be, for any kind of issues, they have to know the roots of the issues in order to voice their opinion. So they can be effective opposition in this way. The next point is that they should have deeper analysis of good and bad effects of their moves. Means if the opposition does something, will it be good for the public in general? Will it be good for the community? They have to think about all this beforehand, before making their move. That's how they become effective oppositions. They also should not miss any opportunity of exposing the ruling party of their omissions and commissions. That is also another point to remember to be an effective opposition member. And there should be mutual trust between the leader of the house. The leader of the house means the prime minister here, in the case of India, and the opposition leader. They should have mutual trust. So in order to create the trust, in order to build the trust, what they need to do is that they need to meet, besides the sessions of the parliament, besides the official meetings, they should meet up and then try to sort out the national and international issues also. So those are the points which should be there to be an effective opposition member. So what are the major roles of the opposition in India? See, in case of India, up to 1977, opposition, there was opposition party, but the role of opposition parties was very dormant. Why we say dormant? Because the Congress were dominating so much that the opposition did not have much voice. So up till 1977, it was there. Then history was made when, after 1977 election, the Congress had to sit in the opposition bench. So when the Congress sat in the opposition bench, the function of the opposition became very active. Then the Janata government did not last long, so they failed, and then by 1980, the Congress came back to power. So when the Congress came back to power, the other political parties which were sitting in the opposition bench, they have also tasted power once. And they know what are the what it is like to taste power. So now the opposition became more active. Year by year, the opposition became active. So by 1980, the role of opposition became active. And then more confrontations were there between the ruling government and the opposition because of this reason. But this is quite healthy. This is healthy competition. But unfortunately, and then the leader of the opposition in the House is usually given the status of a cabinet minister. You should keep this in mind. Cabinet minister rank leader of the opposition. So what happened in the 2014 general election was that even though Congress was the next party which the members elected besides the coalition of BJP, Congress party was not declared, the leader of the Congress party was not declared the leader of the opposition. Why? Because they got only 44 seats out of the 543 elected seats. In order to be called the leader of the opposition, you need to have, any political party needs to have 1/10 member of the Lok Sabha as their opposition member. Whereas in the case of 2014, the Congress got only 44 seats. Therefore, the leader did not get the status of opposition leader. But, of course, they were still playing the role of opposition, even though they did not have the status of the leader of opposition. And the main function of opposition in India is to check the unfair acts of the rulers. To check the unfair acts of the rulers, how? By using the no confidence motion, by using the censure motion, all these things, they check the functioning of the government. Then the opposition also take active parts in parliamentary debates and investigations. So in this way, they check the government. They also lend support to the legislation, to the wise legislations and welfare measures. And of course, they also play a negative role also. One very good example that we can take very recently is that in 2018 budget session, the opposition did not allow the session to go on. There was so much chaos and shouting so that the business hour could not be carried out. This is not a constitutional way. Therefore, they're not supposed to do like that. Okay. Anyway, those are the roles of the opposition in India. To wind up the class, let's have a recap of what we have learned in this chapter. In this chapter, we have learned, the first thing is the meaning, features of political party, the role and functions of political party, the defects of party system, the various categories of party system like the one-party system, the dominant party system, two-party system, those things we have discussed, we have learned. Then the evolution of party system in India. Then the various phases of party system in India, like the one-party dominant phase, the personality cult, the multi-party phase, all these things we have learned in the previous classes. And we have also learned the evolution of, we have also learned the evolutions of political parties in India. Then the features of today we have learned the features of party system in India, the role of opposition, and finally the role of opposition in India. I hope all of you have understood, and I hope all of you will be staying home and safe. Until next time, thank you.